Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary peoples. This is Bronson's By Any Means Necessary Fantasy Football Talk for Thursday, December 8th. This will be my wide receiver spikes and yikes. Unfortunately, I will not get to running backs before kickoff, as we only have about an hour and 15 minutes. This is going to be like a 20-minute video. Usually takes about an hour to upload, so it's just not going to happen. But before I forget, the 6 teams on bye are the Colts in the AFC. Then from the NFC South, we have the Falcons and Saints. And then from the NFC North, we have the Bears and Packers. And then we have the Commanders from the NFC East. So 6 teams on bye. Your last bye weeks of the season, your biggest bye week of the season. It's also the last week of the regular season in most fantasy football leagues. So if best wishes to you getting in the playoffs. All of my teams, except for one, are still in contention for the playoffs. One of them's already been eliminated. It's just been a bad season all around there. Although I'm pretty sure one, it's not eliminated. It's not mathematically eliminated. I could win this week and somehow maybe still get the 4th spot, but I'm like, I need some help. I need a lot of help for one. So I guess basically 2 teams out of my 27 are non-playoff bound or still eligible for the playoffs. What did I do today? Slept because I was actually tired enough to sleep last night, and I slept for a little bit. But then my loud-ass, obnoxious, inconsiderate roommate was just screaming at his video games all night long, and so I woke up at like 2 a.m. and started blasting my music on my speakers until I went to work at 3. Neither one of my roommates seemed to like it, but I don't really give a fuck because I'm tired of the inconsiderate loudness around here. And communicating with it doesn't work. Telling the landlord doesn't work. So it works temporarily, and then he just goes back to his old habits. So I just can't wait to be out of here. I cannot wait to be out of here. Still waiting to hear back. I did apply for a couple of other apartments, a couple of other places in Tucson, so I'm waiting to hear back on those. Considering going to the Blazers game tonight, I had the Nuggets game tonight as one of the games I really wanted to go to. However, it's not the most convenient time financially for me, so we'll see. And it starts in a couple hours anyway, so I don't know. I did an hour's worth of Ubering. Got from 1:30 to 2:30, made about $30, something around $30. Pretty good hour, especially for being the end of the lunch, of lunch basically. So I guess that's it. That's caught you up. I'll get to running backs tomorrow, probably, maybe later tonight after the game. But let's see. We got obviously, if you have Josh Jacobs, you're going to start Josh Jacobs, even if he's questionable. He's been playing better with the questionable designation than he has ever in his career before. And then Cam Akers, he might be a pretty good start for you too, depending on your running back situation. Again, a reminder that Cam Akers, each of the last 2 years, has torn up in the last few weeks of the season and in the fantasy playoffs. So, no reason to think that won't continue, because the Raiders aren't a bad matchup for him at all. They're not a very good team. The defense sucks. So, especially if Baker Mayfield starts, like it is rumored, I think they'll lean heavily on the run. So I think both running backs in this game, Josh Jacobs and Cam Akers, will be good plays. Remember to play your Thursday people in your position slot, not your flex, because you want to have that flexibility in your flex spot on Sunday. case some injuries pop up. Let's get to it. Let's get to your top 30, starting with your top 10 as usual for week 14. Wide receivers. Sorry for the angle of this. It's a little lower than I normally have it, and I want to have my entire, torso in the shot, so I had to angle it a little bit differently. So yes, I'm a little fat. I look a little fatter on camera than I actually am. Something in my mouth. Top 10 wide receiver ones for week 14. We got Tyreek Hill at number 1 versus the Chargers in LA. And then at number 2, we got Justin Jefferson at the Lions. 3, we got Amon-Ra St. Brown versus the Vikings. So 2 of the worst secondaries in the league facing each other here. That's why Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown are in the top 3. At 4, we got Devontae Adams tonight against the Rams. 5, we got Jamar Chase versus the Browns. 6, we got Stephon Diggs versus the Jets versus Sauce Gardner and the Jets. But Stephon Diggs is one of those guys who is always going to put up numbers because he is such a precise, excellent route runner. He can fool DBs and get his catches. 7, we got CeeDee Lamb versus the Texans. 8, we got DK Metcalf versus the Panthers. 9, we got A.J. Brown at the Giants. And 10, we got Jalen Waddle, who's pretty questionable against the Chargers. Wide receiver 2s, 11 through 20. We got Keenan Allen at 11 versus the Dolphins. 12, we got Amari Cooper at the Bengals. 13, we got DeAndre Hopkins versus the Patriots. 14, we got T. Higgins versus the Browns. 15, we got Garrett Wilson coming off a huge day against my Vikings. Against the Bills here in week 14. He is the top 15 play. 16, we got Deebo Samuel versus the Buccaneers. 17, we got Tyler Lockett versus the Panthers. 18, we got Chris Godwin at the Niners. 19, Christian Kirk at the Titans. And 20, we got Devontae Smith at the Giants. Devontae Smith coming off a pretty good week last week against the Titans. Wide receiver 3s, 21 through 30. We got Mike Evans at 21 against the 49ers. I think he's a little bit lower than he should be. We'll talk about that later. 22, we got Mike Williams, who's has no injury designation. He should be good to go here against the Dolphins. 23, we got Marquise Brown versus the Patriots. 24, we got DJ Moore at the Seahawks. DJ Moore did miss last week, but he's presumably good to go this week. I don't think he has any designations. 25, we got Jerry Jeudy versus the Chiefs. 26, we got Adam Thielen at the Lions. 27, we got Deontay Johnson versus the Ravens. Deontay Johnson making an appearance in the top 30 again for the first time in a while. 28, we got Gabe Davis versus the Jets. 29, we got Zay Jones at the Titans. And 30, we got Brandon Ayuk versus the Buccaneers. So even with the switch to Brock Purdy, 49ers still have 2 top 30 plays at wide receiver. And I'm not spiking or yiking either of them. I do like Brock Purdy. Don't necessarily like this matchup, but I do like him long term. I think he's going to be a player. So my yikes, I do have one in the top 10 is Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is very questionable. He's very injured. Again, he played like less than 50% of the snaps last week. I think he's going to be limited again this week. He's outside my top 20, let alone my top 10. He's not even in my top 20. He's just a flex play for me this week. Other yikes, I do have one in the wide receiver 2 category, Devontae Smith. I know he's coming off a big week, but he's been very inconsistent this year with the A.J. Brown, the clear number 1 guy in Philly. Devontae Smith is taking a back seat. He's hit or miss week to week, hard to trust as a top 20 play. He's in the flex consideration for me. Other yikes at the bottom end of the wide receiver 3 list. We got Deontay Johnson. He's just having a terrible year. I don't see that changing. I hope it changes for him next year. I think he's very talented. I think as Pittsburgh, as their quarterback's situation gets a little bit more calmed, a little bit, Kenny Pickett gets a little bit more experience, things are going to get better for Deontay Johnson. This is just kind of a lost year. Not a flex play for me. And then Gabe Davis at 28, he's not having the year that most of us kind of anticipated. Jets have a good defense, good secondary. I think this is going to be another kind of a ho-hum blah game from Gabe Davis. Not a flex play for me this week either. Spikes, because I'm moving Jalen Waddle out of the top 20. I've got to move someone else into the that 10 spot, right? I'm going with DeAndre Hopkins. I know he's questionable. He hasn't practiced because of sickness, but he's not. It's not injury related. I think he's just dealing with an illness. I think he's going to be good to go on Sunday, and I think he's going to just be a wide receiver one like he has been for the entirety of his career. DeAndre Hopkins. I'm moving him into that 10 spot. So I got to make room for two more guys because Jalen Waddle's out of the top 20 and Devontae Smith out of the top 20. I'm moving Mike Evans into the top 20. I think he's not facing Marshawn Lattimore this week, his nemesis. He's facing the 49ers secondary, which I honestly don't even know who their corners are. So Mike Evans back in the top 20. Him and Chris Godwin should be pretty even in the ranks. So having him at like 17, 19, 20, something like that seems fair. And who else am I going to move into the top 20? I think we're going to go with DJ Moore. He's currently sitting at 24. The quarterback change has been great for DJ Moore. DJ Moore in his last game did score a touchdown, did get over 100 yards. And the Seahawks, despite the Seahawks secondary is pretty good. Tariq Woolen is a ball hawk, but I like DJ Moore in that matchup. I think DJ Moore is more talented than the Seahawks secondary. So DJ Moore would be the final move into the top 20. Another spike that I have, even though I don't really have a place to put him, because I don't know who else to knock out of the top 20, is Marquise Brown, currently sitting at 23. I know that's already high-end wide receiver 3. There's not much higher he can go there unless you move him into the top 20. Again, I don't know who's going to fall out of the top 20, but I do think Marquise Brown is going to put up a borderline top 20 week. So the move to Arizona has been great for him. Kyler Murray is a legitimate quarterback that can throw the ball. And I'm not trying to diss on Lamar Jackson. He's a very talented player, an absolutely talented player, absolutely fantastic athlete, former NFL MVP, but he has major flaws as a quarterback that Kyler Murray, despite his, Kyler Murray has flaws in his personality and his maturity, his off the field stuff. On the field, Kyler Murray is a fantastic quarterback. Lamar Jackson, seems to be kind of a fantastic person, fantastic athlete, not such a great quarterback. He's got major flaws that have been exposed in the playoffs each time he gets there. And then Marquise Brown, for whatever reason, it didn't work with him in Baltimore, but it's working for him in Arizona. So good for him. And I think both Cardinals wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, wide receiver 1, Marquise Brown, wide receiver 2, fantasy-wise and in real life. So the Cardinals do have a really good wide receiver core there finally, which is what Cliff Kingsbury has always wanted. But unfortunately, the results haven't materialized this year, and Cliff Kingsbury is probably going to get fired. So Cliff Kingsbury finally got the offense he wanted in Arizona, and now he's not going to be able to really enjoy the fruits of his patience. But yeah, again, I don't know who to knock out of the top 20 to put Marquise Brown in it. So Marquise Brown, I'm going to kind of put at wide receiver 20B, which I don't know. I think it's a pretty strong wide receiver group in the top, let's say 25. Top 25, I'd say, is pretty strong. After that, though, after 25, which is where I'd be having the Jalen Waddle discussion, and then other guys, Deontay Johnson, Gabe Davis, Zay Jones, Brandon Ayuk, gets a little bit just personal preference at that point. But then one more spike that I do have, a guy who probably should be in the top 30, who probably should be in your lineups if he plays, currently in concussion protocol, Treylon Burks of the Titans. Really having a nice little run over his last 3 weeks, month or so, and clearly the number one guy in Tennessee. Didn't take him very long to take that throne from Robert Woods. It's not like Robert Woods, gave it up with much of a fight. So, Jaguars defense is definitely beatable. Secondary definitely beatable for Treylon Burks. So if Treylon Burks plays, he should definitely be in flex consideration. He would definitely be a strong flex consideration, in my opinion. All right, so that's it. I guess it was a little less than 20 minutes. We'll see how long this takes to upload. Maybe I will be able to get running backs done before the game, but I considered doing them together, kind of like I did with the tight ends, quarterbacks, defense yesterday. But I just feel like wide receiver, running back, I go a little bit deeper. I mean, tight ends, quarterbacks, defense, special teams, I only go 10 deep. So that's, I'm talking about 30 different players or teams. While wide receivers, running backs, I go 30 deep. So it's like, I need a little bit more time to cover all the info on those position groups. So I don't feel like combining those would be, would make for quality content. So that's why I didn't do that. As you can see, this one, it's already over 16 minutes, and all I did was wide receivers. If I'd have done running backs, this would have been like a 40-minute video. So, yeah, that would have been a little long. I wouldn't expect you guys to watch that. You guys don't even watch these ones. So, yeah, it's cold in this garage. I've actually been cold today. I was cold at work because I didn't bring a hoodie. It's just the wet. The wet is, I could live with like 25 and dry, like 25 snowy on the ground. I can live with that easy. My body's built for that. I'm Scandinavian, but the wet cold when it's 35, 40 degrees and it's raining, that feels like it's like 5 degrees outside. I hate it. So I've been cold today. I was cold when I was sleeping. For the little bit of sleep I did get this morning, and then I was cold at work. I'm cold standing here in this cold garage. I mean, it's cold, but it feels like I'm in like I'm back at Walmart in the freezer. It's kind of what this feels like. It's a cold, but not like I could be out here for an hour or so, be fine. Also, perfect time to work out here. We are trying to turn this into a gym, even though I do park my car in here sometimes, like on the nights where it's supposed to freeze. I park my car in here. But this is a nice workout space, especially this time of year when it's cold out here. Get out here, start sweating, get the blood pumping. So I think I need to move my elliptical out here. It's taking up space in my room. I don't use it in there much anyway. It's kind of like starting to damage my floor a little bit. My wood floor's in there, so this would be a great place to put it. I'm just not sure exactly where to put it right now, and I'm just kind of like, I got 1 foot out the door here. I don't intend to stay here in this area much longer, but if I do, yeah, moving the elliptical out here makes a lot of sense. Then my roommate could use it too if he wants to. Not gonna break my heart, but peace, love, nacho fries. Let's get this uploaded and let's get started on the next one. So good luck. Enjoy the game tonight. And I'll see you when I see you.